I'll put a picture in the end of the video of this and they can decipher it as they want. Is there anything you want them to know when they're reading it that they should like to look? Okay, it's October 20th.
Yeah, so...
And we're here back with John and Rachel and we're going over the test plot. We're here in the kitchen and they're gonna explain the stuff because they just went through the results. I guess John's gonna let Rachel do the explaining. These two papers are the same, but there they were marking out the highlights of what they noticed, and as they're telling us, I just record it, so it's nothing like you have to say twice. You don't have to feel pressured. But some people said they wanted to see this stuff for themselves.
Yeah. So we were just chatting about...
you can hold that.
We were first looking at the tonnages. So the highest tonnages came in, we had 2 at 28 and 3 around 27, which I think is excellent, you know, for
what it was. Yeah. How many acorns were those ones?
And we were commenting that it was more of the mid-range corns that came out with the highest tonnages, so 100 to 95, versus the ones that were a little bit longer, but we were also chatting about where the dry matters come in. So the dry matters, it's a tad bit wet, not wet, but would pull up probably the tonnages and the starches a little bit, because I think the dry matters were right in line for where we want them to be on that 100 to 95 day range. So if these were in the field a little bit longer, you may see, and if you were just chopping a field of it, you know, you would time it just for that one variety. But when you have a test plot range, you kind of just have to pick a good spot to go. But I mean, still all really within a good range. You kind of want dry matters to fall no wetter than 30, you know, 30 to 40 is really probably where you want them to be. 35 is kind of the goal in a lot of cases. So if you get a little bit drier, you know, you'll see it like a couple that will get a little bit drier and then a few that are a little bit wetter than you want, but still a pretty good range. We do see sometimes where if you get past that 40, you know, into the 50 dry matters, the data is not going to be as good. You know, it kind of gets skewed, and you definitely lose a lot of digestibility. So digestibility numbers were kind of right in that mid 50 range, which is good for this year. Last year, that definitely was a little bit better. That has a lot to do with environment, sunlight. So a wet, cloudy, rainy year brings digestibilities down a little bit, and we did see that on average. Now we have a few other test plots that we've gotten back. The early stuff that seemed to be in a little bit drier areas was more close to the 60, you know, NDFD 30 range, but still solid, I would say. And then starches in the high 30s to the highest one, we had a 44, 42, 43 starch range, which are all very good too.
So back to a previous conversation we had on the varieties. So we had talking about the planter and population. So we had a lower tonnage there, but that was because the population was not there.
The planter did not like the. I don't know if it was because it was heavier or what it was, and you did not adjust
the biggest seed, right?
So you were planting at 36,000.
Yes.
And that variety was at 22 and 23,000 for population.
So that was the worst one. It got better afterwards.
Yep, across the maturities.
Yes.
Because of our plot seed's not all the same size, and we split your planter, 6 rows of one variety, 6 of another.
Christoph was getting confused. All right, you're good, John. I'll hold it.
So with our plot seed, it's not all the same weight seed. For a white air planter, it's very crucial on the weight of the seed that you run consistent size.
Yes, and we've learned that over the years.
Yes. So some of the populations affect what the yield was, and you can really see it in this one variety.
The 107.
Yep, the 0711.
Yep.
So it's not because it was a poor variety. We just didn't have the plants there, you know. And if we put in those numbers and calibrations, they could kind of correct it.
Yeah.
You know, so
That is more on our side. That's not the seed's fault. That's our planner's fault.
yeah, so you know, we have all the data from when we went and scouted the fields. It just was not entered into this report here. You know, so this was just field samples, the weights from the trucks, distance of the field. So, but everything looks pretty good.
Yeah, these middle ones look really nice.
Yeah, so some of it's just like figuring out the story, you know, that it's telling, or if something was off, why was it, and what did we see that was associated with it. Like this was a plot we did either right before or right after.
This one was done after.
Up over the mountain, and had, you know, quite a few of the same varieties, some a little bit shorter, but this one happened to come out a little bit higher digestibility, but, you know, similar tonnage and, you know, similar. So what we'll do is take all of our results after they're done. Our agronomists compile the data, look for trends, look kind of what did the best in multiple locations, and kind of come up with our own, you know, favorites of what we think is the best products.
What is consistent, you know, for the different locations. Because not every growing area is the same.
It's all
or ground, you know, ground types.
And how much fertilizer did they put on there?
Right.
Renewal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That all makes a big difference.
Because I know we're definitely on the lower side on renewal.
Yeah, I've actually been asked too about your guys' fertilizer program for this, so I don't remember if we talked about that.
No, we did not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I know we're way lower than most people because we don't have the shit. So.
Well, it was pretty, I mean, it was pretty good results.
Yes, for what it was, yes.
You know, for the kind of growing year we had, it flooded a couple times. You know, we had a lot of cloudy, rainy days, so we didn't get the growing degree days.
And you had the smoke from Canada all year long that you always forget about.
So
and I don't know how much of a difference that made for the growing year, but it did take away sunlight.
It has to affect the solar radiation, you know, for plants to photosynthesize. So that's above my pay grade to figure that out. So.
That's something. Yeah.
Was there anything in the plot that
was me.
We're gonna. I'm just gonna get a try to focus this. Maybe I can use a light because
I'll use your phone and put it in. That might work too.
I might just take a picture, because that way I'll just take a picture and stick it in there. That way, people that want to see it's not like we're hiding anything. It's just
and it'll be online.
It's data results for anyone to see, and they can go off of that on what they think of the corn. I mean, I know there's a lot of people in Vermont that watch the videos more than I ever expected. John has learned that, right?
Vermont, New Hampshire, some guys in New York were saying something about it.
Massachusetts, yeah.
I never thought that many people would be watching it, but it is what it is. So I'll put a picture in the end of the video of this, and they can decipher it as they want. Is there anything you want them to know when they're reading it that they should to look for?
I think just what we were just chatting about is that, you know, one trial in one location is good information, but the real story is all the trials that we're going to get, all the summaries, and multiple years of data, which is what we'll compile and use to kind of make recommendations and see what works and what doesn't. We learn a lot if something was to really fall off or not do well. That, you know, tells us something, or if something does well in a lot of different locations, but I think you really have to look at the more numbers, the better for complete information. So,
because our test plot was completely different to someone 30 minutes away, because ours was on river bottom and it got flooded, and someone else's could have been on harder, like clayer ground.
Yeah, so the one that's 30 minutes away, you know, it's not river bottom ground, but it had wet feet all summer, just like everybody else's. You know, so and it was light. It was a lighter soil, but it didn't flood.
So did the flood help it with nutrients, or did it hurt it? Because it didn't knock this corn over like our other fields, but you don't know.
It definitely hurt, because when it flooded, you had all that water, you lost some nutrients. So these results may have been even better had we not lost some nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because it wasn't long after you guys top dressed it that it flooded.
Yes, it did. Right, pretty soon after.
Yep.
And they did about what, 200-300 acres that happened.
Yeah, we had a lot of corn underwater, but that's what you get for having river bottom. It grows really nice on most years, but then you have the risk of it flooding.
Yeah.
But yes, I will take a picture of this, and that way it's just something you can actually pause the video at and look at, and you don't have us shaking trying to zoom in on it. But I gotta say thank you to John and Rachel for
Thank you.
bringing this data, and thanks for watching.